Yes, sir.
Yes. Uh, in our last class, we discussed two important cases on the concept that whether company is citizen or not. The Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company Limited versus State of Bihar. It was through the writ petition, and Justice P.B. Gajendra Gadkar wrote the judgment. The petitioner counsel was the none other than the Rani Palkiwala. Then the second case also we discussed, that famous case known as bank nationalization case, R.C. Cooper versus Union of India. And after that, we came at the point where we have to discuss the last concept under this subtopic 2. And the name of this, topic is lifting of corporate veil, or you can say this doctrine, lifting of corporate veil, or piercing corporate veil, or you can say tearing open the corporate veil. What is it? The basic concept that we derive from the section 9 of the Companies Act, that after incorporation, all the members and with the time, all the shareholder will become a body corporate, a separate person having perpetual succession, can possess the property, may sue or be sue, whatever written in section 9. That means after the incorporation, the company will become a separate legal personality. And court also have to regard Samman. Court also have to regard the corporate personality of the company. But there may be the situation when this concept became, you know, inconvenient or sometime result into the injustice. Sometime this concept of separate personality may be used for avoidance of welfare legislation, or for tax exemption, or for some other purposes. Then the court may disregard that company is separate person, we are not respecting it and having that the members will not be liable. Rather, disregarding the company as a separate person and giving regard to the members of the company. And this is known as lifting of corporate veil, or piercing the corporate veil, or tearing open the corporate veil, or tearing open the corporate cell. Now, how it is used? The lifting of corporate veil be in two ways. One, when, or you can say on the judicially recognized grounds, and the second one is statutorily recognized grounds. To the statutorily recognized grounds also you can categorize into two category. One is under some other statute, and second is under the Companies Act. Like section 85 of the Information Technology Act 2000 says that if the cyber crime is committed by the company, section 85 is dealing that how the things will happen or the prosecution will done when the offense committed, any of the offense categorized under chapter 11 of the Information Technology Act, if it is by the company. कंपनी वैसे कुछ नहीं करती, it's always done by some natural person, but in the law we presume by the company. So section 85 says that the liability will be on the person who actually responsible. And this is with the justification or with the logic that the cyber crime we want to stop and criminal activity we have made, if this provision would not be there, see, company cannot be prosecuted because for the crime there has to be mens rea, and only natural person can have mens rea, so company would not covered. Second thing, even if you by the strict liability also you make the company liable, then also you cannot put the company behind the bar, only the penalty or the fine you can impose. Okay, and so just for these reasons it is made that the company, if the offense cyber crime is committed by the company, then the natural person behind would be responsible. I'm reading also. Fortunately, I have Information Technology Act with me, where a person committing the contravention of any of the provision of this act or rule or regulation, direction made, order made thereunder is a company. If the person committing is a company, every person who at the time of contravention was committed was in charge and responsible to the company for the conduct of business of the company, as well as the company shall be guilty for the contravention and shall be liable to be proceeded against and punished accordingly. That means what we were saying, what the court held in the Solomon versus Solomon and Lee versus Lee Air Farming Private Limited case, that the act done by the person on the behalf of the company will be deemed to be done by the company. Here it's saying that the act done by the person who is in charge, as such, it would be presumed to be by the company itself. But section 85 saying that no. And here the section 85 is actually disregarding the company's separate personality. These person cannot take this argument that, sir, what we are doing are on behalf of the company, so in law it would be treated by the company, why you are prosecuting us. And so the situation where the court, or the situation where the corporate personality has been disregarded and the separate person and the personality of the members of the company is regarded, is known as lifting of corporate veil or piercing open the corporate veil or tearing open the corporate you know veil. Similarly, in the environmental law also, Environment Protection Act, you will find the provision where the if the offender or the polluting is a company, then the person who is in charge will be responsible. So these are the statutorily recognized ground of the lifting of corporate veil. Oh, and in the statutorily recognized ground also, the other than the Companies Act. Okay, so the lifting of corporate veil can be divided into two category. One is judicially recognized ground, where the judiciary has recognized in the past that in this particular situation justice required that we must disregard the concept of corporate separate personality and we give regard to the members of the company. We just lift the facade and see who are actually the person behind this legal facade. The second is about the statutorily recognized ground, and this statutorily recognized ground can further be divided into two categories. One is the statutory provision under the Company Act 2013, and other are the other statutory provision other than the Companies Act, like Section 85 of IT and under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. Under the Companies Act, Section 7, Clause 5, Section 7, Clause 4, section 34, section 35. There are many provisions where you will find that for the act of the company, as such, in the law, we generally treat that it is done by the company, but individual person were held to be responsible. So those are the grounds, section 229, section 447, where companies, the member were held to be responsible. One ground I am reading, like section 35. If you also have, you can also read. This section 35 is not in consonance with your section strictly. The civil liability, or section 34 also, criminal liability for misrepresentation, where prospectus issue circulated or distributed under this chapter include any statement which is untrue, misleading in the form or the context in which it is intended, or where any inclusion or omission of the matter is likely to mislead every person who every person who authorities the of the issue of such prospectus shall be liable. That means it not saying that the company will liable, rather the person who is in the authority is personally liable. And here this person cannot say that, sir, I was doing only on behalf of the company, and section 9 saying that company is a separate person, so whatever I am doing is doing by the company. See, similarly, suppose the admission is not given to you, against whom you will file? Not against me or to any teacher, but against the Delhi University, because in the law Delhi University is a separate person. Whatever we are doing on behalf of the Delhi University. Are you getting my point, guys? कोई response नहीं आ रहा आप लोगों का, guys?
जी सर।
Okay. So these are the some sections: section 7 clause 5, section 7 clause 6, section 34, section 35, section 447, section 229, etc. in Companies Act also. Yes, Abhishek.
सर मेरा एक सवाल था। सर
Mhm.
सेक्शन 34 में लिखा हुआ है मिस स्टेटमेंट्स। सर आपने कहा कि अगर एक तरीके से मिस रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो जाती है सर, और आपने कहा कि क्राइम के लिए मतलब ये तो कह रहे हैं क्रिमिनल लाइबिलिटी, तो मतलब मेंस रिया इस पे अप्लाई करेगा।
See, the mens rea has, three, you can say, level. First is the intention, second is the knowledge, and third is the reason to believe. Okay. So when the misstatement you are saying, and you have the reason to believe that it is not true, then it is misstatement, no?
नहीं
Okay.
सर, एक चीज और थी सर। सर ये जो मिस रिप्रेजेंटेशन होती है, कभी कभी सर हम लोगों ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट में पढ़ा था, मिस रिप्रेजेंटेशन जो होती है इनोसेंट भी हो सकती है। मतलब
Yes. Yes, that is also. But see, that you have to prove. That you have to prove. This section 34 is making liable, and then it referring to section 447, and in combining with that, it has to be dealt with. So there you will find other word also by which you can conclude. The criminal law principle will apply uniformly. It's not that unless it is a strict liability offense, then their mens rea is not required. Yeah? I think you all aware about that. Section 447. अभिषेक, तुम मेरे से ना बहुत एक्स्ट्रा एक्सरसाइज करवा रहे हो.
आई एम रियली वेरी सॉरी सर।
No, no problem. See, punishment for fraud without prejudice to any liability. I'm reading 447, including the repayment of any debt under this act or any law for time being in force. Any person who is found to be guilty of fraud involving an amount of at least 10 lakh rupees, etc., 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 term which shall not be less than 6 or 10 year. Or it's about the fraud only. Mm, it's only about the fraud, huh? And then section 35, how it is referring. So in that case, section 35 is only referring about the punishment, about the for purpose of punishment only it is referring. uh, and prospectus circular distribute. See, it's saying that under section 34, the last line, such prospectus shall be liable under section 447. That means it would be treated as fraud. Okay. And for the fraud, there is that requirement of mens rea also. So from there, you can include in it similar or the innocent misrepresentation would not be covered, because section 447 would not be attracted in that case, because there the word written as a fraud. So your misrepresentation be in the form that you know what you say that take the result of the fraud. Okay, simple innocent representation would not be covered. Okay, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then the second, the first ground that we are saying about the uh, um, judiciary also got the opportunity where it recognizing the instances where it can lift the corporate veil or disregard the corporate separate personality, like whatever we are saying in the Solomon versus Solomon and Lee versus Lee Air Farming Private Limited. That company is a separate person. Lee has not appointed to Lee, but Lee on behalf of the company appointed, so the company appointed. यहाँ पे हम सब उल्टा कहेंगे. So judicially recognized grounds, and there are some judicially recognized grounds. The first is the determination of the character. Determination of the character, and on this, the determination of the character, we have a very famous classical case, Daimler versus. Uh, this case is in your case material. It's on the page number. Just give me one. It's on the page number 32. Daimler Company Limited versus Continental Tire and Rubber Company, Great Britain Limited. Okay. Uh, in this case, the the Lord Atkin and Earl of Halsbury and Lord So wrote this judgment. On the ground of determination of character, when the real nature of the company has to be determined, and in that case the court can disregard the separate personality of the company and giving regard to the individual member. That in the Daimler case, see the facts of the case. This case, when you see the citation, this case was from 1960 to 1917, All England Reporter 191. This was the time when Second World War was in operation, from 1914 to 1918. Okay, and in the First World War, sorry, or in the First World War, the world was divided into two groups. Okay, and unfortunately, the companies who are parties in this case, or you can say the person who are affected or who are involved in this case, are from two nations, one from Germany and another from the Britain. So the facts of the case are like this, that there was a German company, and this German company, earlier it was very famous thing that this is something made from the German Purja. So there was a company incorporated in Germany, and this German company was in the business of selling tires, कार के टायर जो होते हैं ना, जो भी टायर्स यूज होते हैं. Now this company to do business in the England, suppose there is any company like in USA or other, If that company want to do business in the India, so what it will do, it will form a company in India also. So this German company formed a company in the Great Britain as company as one member and some shareholder as the rest of the members. So one company was incorporated in the Britain, and the name of the company was Continental Tire and Rubber bracket GB Great Britain Company Limited. In this company, most of the shareholder or the most of the members were from Germany, except one. Okay, but as per our company law, the company formed by the 7 American will be treated, if it is incorporated in India, registered in India, it will be treated as Indian company. So similarly, though the members were German national, but the company was the Britain company. This company was doing the business peacefully, and then this company have there is another company, Daimler company. This Daimler company is indebted by this Continental, tire and rubber company provided the tires to the Daimler company. Daimler company had not paid. Okay, so वो पैसा बकाया था. This Continental Tire and Rubber Company, they asked to the Daimler company that please repay whatever we have provided to you. पिछली बार का भी पैसा नहीं आया है. Daimler company दे देंगे, बिजनेस में होता रहता है. When the money has not been paid for, after many days, many times, the Continental Tire and Rubber Company, they filed the suit कि भाई पैसा हमारा दिया नहीं, पैसा दो. Now this Daimler company, they got angry. अच्छा, हमारे देश में बिजनेस जर्मनी वालों का और हम ही से पैसे. I said just joking. So they took the help of an act, because this was the time when the First World War broke, and there was a statute, or there was an act passed by the England that restrict the business with the enemy. Okay, and so the Daimler company in the appeal want to take the benefit of that legislation, saying that this is an enemy company. But then there is the problem, and the problem is that of the Solomon versus Solomon and Lee versus Lee Air Farming Company case, that though the members are German nationals who are enemy because they got the enemy character by virtue of that statute, but the company is incorporated in the Great Britain, so company cannot be. Okay, and so they argued, or on the behalf of the Daimler company, it was argued that, see, as per this Trading with Enemy Act 1914 that came after the First World War broke, these persons who are prohibited to do the business with us are now doing with the business through the instrumentality of the company. And if we will pay them this money will go to the money that will go to the company, this Continental Tire and Rubber Company, it will finally go to those shareholder who are German national, and finally to their government, and then the government use that money against us. The same argument we give against the Chinese product, that we purchase Chinese product, then money goes to the China, then China fund to the Pakistan fund to the terrorist. So there, that argument is given. Now, at the one side, there is this section 9, if we talk about from our perspective, and there also the corporate as a separate personality. And on the second side, the Daimler company said that there is a fear in this particular situation where public justice required, and this is not a normal situation. And so in that situation, we should disregard that the company as a separate person, and saying that the company's character is only that pretend company. Rather, we should see that who are actually behind this facade. And when we remove that facade, when we lift the corporate veil, we find that there are only German nationals, and they are enemy. And so the true character of this company is enemy. Okay. So the argument was from both sides. Finally, the court held and court said, but with a rider, if there is other instance where the court got the opportunity to find out the character of the company, and if there is no public fear, then court may refuse, because the law is saying that company is separate personality. And so para also you can mark. See, in this case, three judgment from all these three lords has been given. But if you read judgment given by एक second. Lord Atkin, I think it would be sufficient. Okay. Only judgment by Lord Atkin. What the court said, the House of Lords laid down that the company incorporated in UK is a legal entity creation of law with the status and capacity which the law confer. It is not a natural person with mind and conscience. It can neither be loyal nor be disloyal. It can neither be enemy nor be friend. But it may assume the enemy character when the person in de facto, in actual control, are of its affair are resident in any enemy country, or wherever resident are acting under the control of the enemies, and accordingly the company was not to proceed with the action. And so court disregarded the company's separate personality, saying that company cannot be friend, company cannot be foe, but actually company did as per the its members. And so in this case, the court held, the House of Lords held, that this company where all the de facto controller or the controlling the affairs of the company are from enemy nations, and so the nature of this company is enemy. Okay. Now see, as this company was incorporated in the Britain, but the court have not regarded that, but rather see the factual situation. And so they gave the justification that it is necessary when there is a public fear, because there is a public fear that if we not decide this case in this manner, then the money that we will give to this company, we will allow to this company, will be used by this enemy national against us, like it happened in the Second World War. Germany used to bombard, has to drop many bombs on the Britain. So just to avoid that situation with the public fear, court has said. So this judgment in itself is self-explanatory with the rider. Okay. Have you got this case, guys? Yes, guys, have you got this case, that why court said that the company incorporated in Germany, in Britain, is actually German company. Why? Yes, guys, have you got this case? समझ में आया कुछ? Abhishek?
जी सर.
Okay. Now, see, I want to discuss another case also so that you can understand this difference.
सर, बिफोर यू प्रोसीड आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन.
Mm-hmm.
हाँ सर, जैसे मान लीजिए कि ये जो कॉन्टिनेंटल टायर वाला केस था, डेमलर वर्सेस कॉन्टिनेंटल टायर. सर
Mm-hmm.
मान लीजिए कि एग्जाम में हमको एक ऐसी फैक्चुअल सिचुएशन मिलती है जिसमें सर ये होता है कि एक कंपनी इंग्लैंड में इनकॉर्पोरेट हुई है, लेकिन उसमें मान लीजिए जो मेंबर्स हैं वो मतलब 50-50, मतलब 50% मेंबर्स जो हैं वो हमारे इंग्लैंड के हैं, और 50% मेंबर्स जो हैं वो ये जर्मन के हैं. और सिचुएशन सर ये वर्ल्ड वॉर वाली वो लोग दे देते हैं. तब सर हम लोग कैसे कैरेक्टर डिफाइन करेंगे किसी चीज का, जब बराबर बराबर ही मतलब मेंबर्स होंगे किसी कंपनी में.
See, the whole idea behind the lifting of corporate veil, as House of Lord also held, is that public fear. When there is no such public fear, and when you are talking about the situation where the half of the members are from the friendly nation or from that particular nation, and half of the person from another nation, so on that case, there is no authority that I can quote or I can tell you. But in that situation, your opinion can be in either side. Generally it is not asked, because we don't ask, or in any law school it is not asked anything that is so imaginary that the judiciary has not got the opportunity to settle that position. So in that particular artificial problem that you are telling, it may be on either side. It may be on either side. It may be, suppose I am a judge and I always think, so I say that let the our shareholder also have to suffer, but let not get the money to the enemy. So my opinion would be that it should not be allowed. That means we say that lifting of corporate veil. Are you getting, Abhishek? Maybe some relaxed
जी
judge
सर.
is there that may decide otherwise. But
नहीं
because
सर.
it is not settled by the judiciary, so I cannot quote the case, or I cannot firmly say in that thing that this would be the law.
नहीं सर, मेरा मतलब ये सवाल पूछने के पीछे का उद्देश्य यही था सर, कि मतलब मान लीजिए अगर ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि सर
No,
फैक्चुअल
it,
सिचुएशन
it
का.
will not it will not be asked. The
अच्छा सर.
question we will not ask on the particular thing that is not settled, or that is not decided by the law. Because what would be the legality, even if the law is there, or if suppose there are two cases covering both the situation, in that situation we can ask, so that you can apply in the one situation where all the members are from enemy country, this particular case, and other situation where half of the members from the enemy nation and half of the member from that particular state, so other judgment. But on this other problem, there is no particular case where the court got the opportunity to decide or settle the law, and so on that point we generally don't ask. If sometime it is asked, okay, then you have the liberty to decide in any way,
हाँ
because the
जी सर.
main, yes, because the main principle on which court is regarded. See, इसको देखो, सेक्शन 9 हमारा कह रहा है कि कंपनियां अलग होगी, उस लॉ को हम डिफीट कर रहे हैं, तो देर मस्ट बी सम साउंड रीजन. What was the sound reason? That public fear, this money would go into the enemy hand, and in the war situation, whatever the property enemy national or enemy state have would be used against them. Okay, and so this was the justification. So with that justification you can decide. There is another case, and the name of this case is People's Pleasure Park Company versus Rohilda. This case is again very important, not only from this thing that in itself it is an important and it will be asked, but to clarify you that this determination of character, or this section 9 that we have in the Company Act, we not disregard section 9 as a general principle. there must be some sound reason. If that is not there, then court says that section 9 will apply. That means company will be separate legal personality. We cannot lift the corporate veil. We respect the company as a separate legal personality. We regard the separate personality of the company. In the people's pleasure
Excuse me,
part,
sir.
yes,
Which case you are talking about, sir, right now?
People's Pleasure Park Company versus Rohelder. I can write here.
Sir, actually, we don't have the case, I think, in the case material.
No, this case is not there, but you can find out from internet. You can find in the book also. But this case is important so that you can understand that this only to see the determination of the character. You not directly jump कि इसमें तो disregard करना है. Whenever the determination of the character as a question comes, it's not that you always have to disregard. You always have to allow the lifting of the corporate veil concept, the doctrine of the corporate veil concept. It is only when it is required for the justice. It is required because there are greater, you can say the fear, like in the public fear, etc. So people's pleasure, I'm writing on the chat box, PELASU, people's pleasure, POC company versus Rohelder, and it's 908. A second, just give me 908. (109). In the books also you will find. Four, three, nine. See the facts of this case, that there was a land, and this land was transferred by one person to the another person. Suppose there is a person A, and this person A transferred the land to the B. Which law will applicable? The Transfer of Property Act. Okay, and this transfer was with a condition. A ने B को land तो दे दी. In India we don't have this problem of racism so much because we presume to be by one race, but still there are many instances of racism. But there, what happened, that with a condition, A transfer a property, a certain lands to the B with a condition that B cannot transfer, further cannot sell, further cannot transfer this property to black person. ठीक है, जो फिर बाद में अपार्थियड मूवमेंट भी आया ना, हाँ, अपार्थियड जो था. सो बी जो है इस प्रॉपर्टी को किसी निग्रो, किसी ब्लैक पर्सन को, निग्रो इज ए डेरोगेटरी टर्म, ओके, आई जस्ट यूज टू मेक यू अंडरस्टैंड, टू ब्लैक पर्सन. नाउ बी ट्रांसफर्ड दिस प्रॉपर्टी to a company, and this company have all members the black person, and when A come to the knowledge that B transferred the land that he has transferred with a condition, he approached to the court that B actually violated the condition, and so property transferred back. Now the question before the court is that B is an artificial person, it's not a natural person. For the applicability of that clause, whether B is a black person or a white person, if you see the Solomon versus Solomon argument, or if you see the State Trading Corporation Company argument, 7 Hindu form a company, it would not be considered as Hindu company. So if some black person form a company, how it can be considered as a black company? So argument in this case was that lift the corporate veil and see behind this legal facade that who are the actual person who will get the benefit. क्या करना चाहिए कोर्ट को? अलाउ करनी चाहिए doctrine of lifting of corporate veil, because here is also the question of determination of character कि कंपनी का क्या कैरेक्टर. Yes guys, क्या करना? What would be your answer? Whether the lifting of corporate will be allowed? Because if we will allow the lifting of corporate veil, then the company would be a black person. If we would not allow the lifting of corporate veil, then company is a separate person. It cannot be black, it cannot be white. Yes, Abhishek, बताओ.
नहीं सर, ऐसे फैक्ट्स को तो देखते हुए नहीं नहीं करना चाहिए कॉर्पोरेट वेल को लिफ्ट।
Okay, can you explain it further? Because there is no public fear. The
एग्जैक्टली सर।
justice does not required. Even the justice required in the direction that company should not be considered. Umar saying that no sir, cannot lift. Very good. Ranjan, आपको क्या लगता है कि कोर्ट को कॉर्पोरेट वेल
नो
लिफ्ट
सर,
का? नो. विवेक?
नो सर, नहीं लगता सर,
ओके ओके ओके.
क्योंकि सर ऐसा
रजन?
कंडीशन नहीं है सर।
Okay. And so in this case, court held that there is no public fear, there is no necessity, there is no that the justice is required. And so for the determination of character also, you will not or you are not supposed to jump directly कि जब भी determination की बात हो तो lifting of corporate veil नहीं. You have to judicially use your mind. Okay, because section 9 एक statutory provision है, उसके इफेक्ट को हमें डिफीट करने के लिए कुछ साउंड ग्राउंड चाहिए. आर यू गेटिंग? दैट इज जस्टिफिकेशन. ठीक है. सो अदर ग्राउंड लाइक फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ द for tax avoidance, when the company is used as a tax avoidance, when the company is just a scam or fraud, when the company is used for avoidance of welfare legislation, or when the company is used as an agency. These other grounds also we will discuss, and in each ground the judiciary in the past got the opportunity, and now these are the recognized ground. All are with some logic, all are with some reason, and only when that reason, when that situation is required, then only we have to disregard and we have to allow the lifting of corporate veil. Otherwise, in general, we cannot allow. Like, Nani Palikiwala also argued the similar thing. But Justice P.B. Gajendra Gadkar said that no, if we allow the lifting of the corporate veil, that means we are allowing to do a company the activity that it cannot do directly. Now it can do indirectly. Okay. So with this, I stop here. And the first ground, the judicially or judicial recognized ground, the first ground, the determination of character, we have discussed. The case also we have discussed. Okay, why the court reached at the conclusion, that we all discussed. And with this, today class is over. If you have any question, query regarding our